What's going on, guys? Matty here. We're back with another video, and today we're talking about why diets fail. I've failed, you failed, we've all been there before, and we just need to take ownership and responsibility. It's not the diet's fault, it's our fault. So I'm going to talk to you about a few reasons on why your diet might be failing or why you're not seeing the progress you want to, and hopefully this will open your eyes into how you could diet more successfully. So let's jump right into the video. Number one is the lack of sustainability, and you've heard this before. So you first have to stop following the fad diets, the bullshit, quick fixes, tips, tricks, and secrets that are going to help you lose weight fast, because most of that stuff is not going to last long term. You probably know that the success rate of dieting is very small. Most people gain the weight back, whether it's after the first few weeks because they were demotivated by the lack of progress, after the first month, or even after the first year, they were successful and then they fell off. And that's because they didn't make small lifestyle habits and changes that they can sustain over the long term. Instead, they looked for that quick fix, something that they can implement right now, right away, because they're motivated by that fast weight loss. And that's not a bad thing, but can you continue that and can you sustain that weight loss over a long period of time? And that's where most people struggle. Forget about things like fad diets, quick fixes, body wraps, master cleanses, grapefruit diets, Dr. Oz, and bulletproof coffee. Because if you've never built these positive habits into your lifestyle, you're likely going to fail. Number two, we could tie into number one, and that's losing weight too quickly. And that's something that's not sustainable. And while rapid weight loss sounds enticing, there are undesirable outcomes to that approach. So extreme dieting is going to lead to negative adaptations and some not so lovely side effects, such as nutrient deficiencies, potential for disordered eating, body image issues, loss of muscle, binging, a decline in performance and recovery, metabolic issues, and hormonal issues. So while a deficit is how you lose weight, it doesn't mean that the deficit has to be enormous. That will lead to faster weight loss, but you might be putting that weight back on. So take a slower approach and find something that is sustainable with your lifestyle. Number three is you're depriving yourself too much. Now, some sort of deprivation is necessary, or some form of caloric restriction, because that's how diets work, but your body and your brain are going to fight against mindful deprivation. So some people, they go all in. It's all or nothing, black or white. When they begin a diet, they look at foods as either healthy or unhealthy, and they cut out all junk food or food that tastes good or snack foods. And then what's gonna happen the second you deviate from that plan? Do you think you're just gonna have a bite of something or just taste something? Probably not. You're probably gonna go all in, and that might actually lead to a binge. I've spoken of my obsession with healthy eating in the past, and it's not something I want anyone to experience. And although some of you might be experiencing that now, food phobia is a real thing, and we have to remember that food is a blessing, not a burden. So I don't want people to look at food and think of it like, I can't eat this. You're good, you're bad. We wanna have that flexible approach and fit different things into our diet so adherence is much higher. You cheat too much. Now, I don't even like the word cheat because there's a negative connotation with that word. And when you feel like you're cheating on your diet, it comes along with feelings of guilt, and that's not something that we want. So you do have to be restrictive in some sense, but you have to allow yourself some flexibility within your dieting. And I would rather look at it as maybe a free meal or a refeed day where it's an intended period of overfeeding. So maybe you're still tracking what you're eating and intentionally bringing your calories higher, but you're not doing an all-out cheat day and putting yourself into a food coma. This actually happens with a lot of people. They're a work week dieter, so Monday through Friday, they're right on point. Saturday rolls around and it's cheat day, or Sunday is the rest day from the gym and they need to refuel. So they just go all out because they're paying themselves for the hard work that they did and they're looking at it as a reward. That will oftentimes throw off your deficit for the week. And I know that sounds crazy, but it takes one cheat day to really ruin a week's worth of progress if you're the type of person who goes all out and just doesn't care and says YOLO that day. And I don't think that's the smartest approach to dieting, because oftentimes people wake up on Monday or Sunday, the day after that cheat day, and even though they intended to cheat, they still are overwhelmed with feelings of guilt, and they try and counteract that by doing tons of cardio and reducing the calories the next day. That is putting you in an unhealthy cycle of binging or cheating, followed by periods of restriction. So if you're the person who has an all-out cheat day, I would try and get rid of that and focus more on an intentional refeed day or even a free meal in the course of an entire day. Next up, and this is a big one, you're unaware of hidden calories. And by hidden calories, I mean the ones that you conveniently forget to count or track. This happens to all of us, and we're gonna use coffee as an example. So there are over, 200, 300, 1,000 coffee creamers that people put in their coffee. And coffee snobs aside, because I know some people say that you don't need to put creamer. People like their coffee to taste good. And you have everything from the simple French vanilla and hazelnut to the mocha cocoa loco truffle. And did you know that Reese's actually makes a creamer? I know, what a time to be alive. So this is typically what we do. The creamer goes into the coffee and we say, it's just a splash. There's no need to count that, right? Well, your splash is probably around 2 servings of creamer. Not a big deal. Let's see. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say you used the lower calorie or 25 calorie creamer. You use 2 servings of it, so that's about 50 calories, and remember, I'm being generous here. You have 2 cups of coffee each day, that's 100 calories daily, that's 700 calories over the course of the week. Think about that, 700 calories in 1 week just from the splashes of coffee creamer. So you decided not to track that, and that was just one thing, one small part of your day. What about all the other things? The bite here, the lick of the spoon there. It sounds insane, but it adds up, and it can add up to thousands of calories over the course of your week, which might be one of the little reasons why your diet is failing. Now, real quick, back to that coffee example. We're talking about plain unflavored coffee and just throwing a creamer in it. Now, what about the people who go to Starbucks for their morning pick-me-up, and they get one of these Frappuccinos that have anywhere from 400 to 700 calories in them, depending on what they get? Let's say you got one of those each day, 400 calories, 7 days a week. That's 2,800 extra empty calories that you're consuming that you might not have been aware of. And for people who are tracking their calories and macros, they understand how many calories are in these drinks. But for your everyday person who thinks they're just getting a coffee on the way to work when really it's just a liquefied cupcake, they might not realize that and be able to put 2 and 2 together, and they're wondering, I'm so good, I eat so healthy, why am I not losing weight? Well, it's these things that not everyone is aware of, and those hidden calories are going to add up quick. And the last one is you have a shitty food environment. And this is something that I think we're all guilty of. We all like to keep these snacks in our house, and our physical and social surroundings influence what we eat and how we eat them. Whether we're scrolling on Instagram or we get in the car and drive down the street, there's a fast food chain or a restaurant or a convenience store pretty much at every corner, making it extremely tempting. But if we don't bring these foods into our house, it's going to make it much more difficult to satisfy the craving when it hits. So we all do this, right? We buy the cookies or the chips and we keep them around because we're flexible dieters. So we could fit 1 or 2 cookies into our macros for the day. But what happens when you have a shitty day at work, or you get in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or you had a rough day at school and you come home and those cookies are sitting there? Chances are you're not gonna have 1 or 2. You might end up eating the whole package. Now, I'm not saying to go into your pantry and throw away all the snack foods and cookies and chips, but you have to learn to control your food environment. And if you don't have those items in the house, the chances of you eating them or overeating them are a lot less likely. So you're setting yourself up for success ahead of time. And then if you do have a craving hit, the chances are you're probably not going to get dressed, get in your car, drive to the store, pick up the item, drive home. So by controlling your food environment, you're setting yourself up for dietary success. And one quick add-on or tip to controlling your food environment would be make the healthy food more available or more visible. So a lot of times when we buy fruit in an effort to eat more fruit, we put it on the bottom drawer of our fridge and we never see it again. And that's because we don't ever go into that drawer unless we tell ourselves, I'm in the mood for an apple, and then you have to go into the drawer and grab the apple. Instead, maybe put it on the top shelf of your fridge so every time you open the fridge you see it, or keep it in a bowl on the counter instead of having that candy jar or that cookie jar or that bag of chips. If that bowl is sitting on your counter or eye level when you open the fridge, you'll be much more likely to eat that than go ahead and snack on something else because you see it and you remember that is there. So put the healthy food in plain eyesight and put it in a place where you're gonna look at it more often, making you more likely to consume it and to make a healthier choice. So that pretty much covers the reasons why diets fail. I think if you want to know how diets succeed, just take everything I said and don't do any of that. So control your food environment, find a diet that's sustainable for your lifestyle, pretty much everything I said, and do the opposite of that.